Issuing a statement, the Russian Foreign Ministry says Moscow plans to take part in this week's four-party negotiations on the situation in Ukraine, but holding the talks will depend on the actions of the new Kiev authorities. The talks scheduled for Thursday are to be attended by top officials from the US, EU, Russia and Ukraine and are part of the diplomatic effort to resolve the ongoing crisis in Ukraine, where protests have recently intensified in the country's eastern regions.
A column of 2 Ukrainian tanks and more than 20 armoured personnel carriers packed with paratroopers took part in military exercises about 70 kilometers northwest of Slavyansk. It is one of the first signs of a military deployment by Kiev's forces after armed pro-Russian separatists seized more buildings in eastern Ukraine, expanding their control after the government failed to follow through with their announced anti-terrorist operation, leaving Moscow's partisans essentially unopposed. Rebels in Slavyansk and Donetsk, where they remained holed up in the administrative headquarters of a province that is home to 10% of Ukraine's population, called for Russian President Vladimir Putin's help if they are attacked. Separatists have also seized buildings in around 10 other towns and cities across other eastern provinces which form the heartland of Ukraine's heavy industry. Kiev says the separatists are organized by Moscow, seeking to repeat the seizure of the Crimean region which Moscow occupied and annexed last month. Russia says the armed men are all locals acting on their own. Meanwhile, angry protesters staged a demonstration outside Kiev's parliament demanding the resignation of the Ukrainian interior minister and the head of the state security service after authorities failed to follow through with their announced anti-terrorist operation against armed pro-Russian separatists stationed in the country's eastern province. Chanting "Glory to Ukraine" and "Ukraine above all," some 100 protesters and members of the self-defense unit gathered at the steps of the parliament building, accusing Arsen Avankov and Valentin Nalchenko of not doing enough to stop armed pro-Russian separatists from seizing more government buildings after rebels ignored a call to surrender arms. With tensions mounting up, a Russian fighter aircraft made repeated low-altitude close-range passes near a US ship in the Black Sea over the weekend. Colonel Steve Warren, a Pentagon spokesperson, said a Russian Su-24 aircraft, or Fencer, made 12 passes at low altitude near the USS Donald Cook, a destroyer that has been in the Black Sea since April 10. The incident lasted 90 minutes and took place on Saturday evening while the US ship was conducting a patrol in international waters in the western Black Sea. The Russian plane, accompanied by another Fencer that did not fly close to the US ship, did not respond to multiple attempts by the Donald Cook to communicate with its pilot.